In this tutorial, we're going to cover what the best settings for OBS are in 2017. Now, a lot of things have changed with Twitch and with other streaming services, not with the software itself. Essentially speaking, you have less things to worry about than if you were starting a stream, let's say at the beginning of 2016. It used to be that if you wanted to set up a stream, you had to go through these difficult calculations where you had to specify what type of connection you had and what type of processor and all this stuff. Reason being, Twitch would only offer transcoding for partnered streamers. And what this means essentially is that if someone wanted to watch your video, you as a starting streamer would have to send your video to Twitch at a lower quality so that anyone could watch it on a phone or on a computer without buffering, without, basically playback issues. Nowadays, Twitch has upgraded their servers, so for the most part, if you have a stream, you want to send the stream to them at the highest bitrate that they recommend, which is their ingest cap, 3,500 kilobits per second, and the highest resolution and FPS that your system can do. Now, we have to say that streaming is a fairly processor-intensive task. So, generally speaking, you can run a game and run a OBS while you're transcoding, and it'll work. Certain games like Battlefield 1 and things like that are a bit processor-intensive. So, some streamers have a 2 PC setup, but we're not going to go into that. We're just going to tell you that it's never been a better time to become a streamer and to stream using Twitch and OBS. With that said, we're going to go into settings, and we're going to go through each of these tabs and tell you what you need to set your computer at so you can stream easily. So the first thing we want to do is pick a theme. Most people like the default theme. I like the dark theme. We're going to leave it at default for now. I don't think there's anything else you need to change over on the general tab. Some people like to set automatically record when streaming and then keep recording when stream stops. I sometimes do that when I want to do a video of a stream and I want to cut it and I want to edit after the fact. And if you have a lot of hard drive space, you can do that. For now, we're just going to leave it off. Next up, we're going to go to our stream tab, and I'm going to show you how to input all of this in a second. But essentially, depending on what service you're using, you'll want to go ahead and get a stream key from them. So a stream key is essentially a unique identifier that tells Twitch, hey, this is a secure key, this is X person, and they're ready to stream. And so if you go to, for example, Facebook Live is going to have specific instructions on how to use and how to get a stream key for them. Now, the stream key for Facebook Live tends to expire. I believe it's every 7 days. They're only valid for 7 days, so you want to try to get that before you go streaming every X amount of time. The key for Twitch is basically permanent. As long as you don't show it to anyone and you don't share it with anyone, there's no reason why you need to keep going in here and changing these settings. So I'm going to post the links on the descriptions on how to get to these pages to find your stream key below. But basically, in Twitch, you're going to go to your dashboard, and there it's going to be, you're going to go ahead and copy and paste that into Twitch. That's all you need to do here. And then you're going to pick a server that's near you. We're in Miami, Florida, so we're going to go with Miami, Florida. Sometimes, though, you might want to pick a different server like Chicago or Dallas, depending on latency issues. But I've done some tests, and I think this is the best server for me. Now, when we go to output, we have a fairly modern computer here. We're going to go ahead and leave our output mode to simple and our bitrate to 3,500. 3,500 is a healthy rate if you have a good internet connection. For streaming, internet connection is very important because we're uploading in real time. And so while you might have a great download, what you really need is a good upload speed. We have a 10 gig connection here, and so we're able to stream very comfortably at 3,500, which is Twitch's And so we are able to stream very comfortably at 3500, which is Twitch's cap. You want to leave your encoding at software-based encoding. This is going to use your processor. If you have an NVIDIA card, you can use MVENC as a hardware encoder, and it's going to basically make it so that your GPU helps with the heavy lifting of encoding every frame and sending it over to Twitch. In theory, it should work pretty well, but in practice, most streamers end up using software because the quality is just a little bit better. I don't know that that's improved this year, and honestly, you can play around with it if you want to. I like the results with X264 as my codec, and I'm going to go with it. Next up is the audio bitrate. I leave that as a default, 160. And we're going to go ahead and set this to the path where you can record videos to. So for example, if we had set in our general tab automatically make a recording, it's going to output to here. Or if we just basically, instead of streaming, we just start recording, it's going to output to there as well. I like to, if I do record, I like to leave this as an MP4 format, and I think that's the only setting that I changed there. We're going to go ahead and click apply. Moving on to audio, I leave everything at default. Default desktop audio device tends to be basically everything that you hear on your desktop. We already set up our sound to go to our headphones, so that's not going to be an issue. But one thing that I definitely set manually and not default is the microphone. So I always set my microphone to AT2020 USB in this case. I don't want it to accidentally start picking up my camera microphone, which is a great microphone in and of its own, but it just picks a lot of ambient noise up, and it's obviously never going to be as good as a dedicated vocal microphone like the AT2020 is. We've gone ahead and selected that. Now we're going to go to our video preferences. This is pretty straightforward. What you want to do on Canvas is set it to your native desktop resolution. What you want to do on Canvas is set it to your native desktop resolution. In this case, we have a 1080p monitor. We're going to go ahead and set that to 1080p. And then output scaled resolution, we're going to go ahead and set that to 720. 720p is what we're going to be sending Twitch. It's essentially a more compact image. It's going to be smaller, and we're going to only use 30 frames per second. Now, you can change this if you have a faster connection or if you're a partnered streamer. I like to set it to 720/30 because it's something that's middle of the road. It's just going to keep my signal very stable. My computer's not going to have to struggle, basically encoding all those extra frames, and it's still going to look pretty smooth. You'd be surprised how good 720p at 30 frames per second can look. If you have a more robust machine, or you have a better connection, or you have essentially you are a partner streamer, you want to go ahead and turn up to 1080p, and you want to set this up to 60 frames per second, go ahead and play with that. We're always going to try to experiment with our settings to see what works best, but I would tell you that 90% of the streamers out there, 720p, 30 frames per second is more than adequate. Next up is our hotkeys. This is a personal preference. A lot of people like to set these up to different key combinations. You want to make sure you select key combinations that are hard to hit, so you don't necessarily delay your stream or stop your recording in the middle of playback. You want to pick key combinations that make sense. This is also pretty cool to make quick transitions between scenes if you need to. And once we've set up all these scenes, you can come here and basically have hotkeys to switch from scene to scene to scene, and it's pretty cool once you have it all set up. We'll get back to this in a minute. Under the Advanced tab, the only thing that I generally like to play around with is the file formatting. So under file formatting, anything that you record is going to automatically have this sort of timestamp as a default. I like to suffix it or prefix it with something. So in this case, we're going to do an Overwatch stream, and we might do an Overwatch playthrough. So I'm just going to add that there for this session, and I'm going to click apply. And everything's set up. There's a setting here for a stream delay. Sometimes you want to set that up if you have a certain delay in terms of you're playing a game that's in real time. Let's say you're streaming a poker game and you don't want your viewers to see what you have in terms of your hand in real time. So you want to purposely delay it. What it's going to do is it's going to keep a portion of that video in the memory before it sends it off to Twitch, and it adds a delay to your stream. So certain streams, it makes sense to add a delay. Certain streams, you want to basically not have a delay. But just keep that in mind. You do have that option. And then I just leave everything else to default. We're going to go ahead and apply and click OK. And we're good to go.